On the behalf of Black Girl Chats, nginibulisa nonke ngenhliziyo ebuhlungu. To all of those who are mourning the brutal murders of Uyinene, Leighandre, Jesse, and other victims of femicide unknown to me at this particular point, we as the Black Girl Chats say to you all, sime nani, sikhala nani, sizwa ubuhlungu njengani. It is disturbing, heartbreaking, and enraging that SA is reported to have amongst the highest rates of gender-based violence, rape, and femicide in the world. It is also disturbing to know that these shocking rates of gender-based violence coexist with apparently the best constitution in the world. It is clear to me that there is no translation of the law in our everyday lives and experiences. It is clear to me that Black women in this country do not have the right to life, do not have the right to dignity, do not have the right to movement, and certainly do not have the right to freedom from forms of violence, acts of violence, and threats of violence. As a young Black woman in this country, it saddens me to know that the lives of Black women are undervalued, cheap, and disposable. As Black Girl Chats, we would love to call and to appeal and to beg to all of us individually as members of society to check ourselves firstly. Secondly, to call out problematic patriarchal behavior. If you are protecting a rapist, if you are protecting a murderer, if you are protecting an abuser, you're part of the problem. We know that there are various ways in which people perpetuate and allow for patriarchal domination to not only exist but to thrive. And we say to you all that this is an unfortunate and very sad moment in history, a moment that forces each and every one of us to check ourselves. This is a moment that we can constructively use to unlearn patriarchal logics and rationalities, patriarchal norms, and patriarchal practices. There's no need to victim blame. There's no need to shout blame. There's no need to make jokes around rape. There's no need to make jokes around disciplining women while you mean beating women up. There's no need in any way to perpetuate and to create a fertile environment for patriarchy to thrive in. Let us all have honest introspections and honest reflections about the many ways in which we also allow and are also complicit in the perpetuation of patriarchal domination.
This is Mbali from Black Girl Chats, and right off the bat, I am just very disheartened and heavy-hearted and disappointed and almost disempowered that we have to release a press statement about the brutal rape and murder of one of our own. We had imagined that Black Girl Chats would not only be a space in which we could engage our pain, but also a space in which we could speak to our desires, our deepest dreams, our imaginaries, our hopes, and even our failures. We had hoped that we would have created a space that can not only speak to the hostility of the conditions in which we live, but that can also hold us. I had imagined that Black Girl Chats would be a space where we could speak about the multifaceted nature of living a Black woman's life. I had imagined that Black Girl Chats would be a space in which we could speak to the complex nature of living the life of a Black woman. But it has also become evident to me that the only marker there is to being a Black woman is the experience of being violated, the experience of being raped, of being murdered, of being shamed, of being dehumanized, and of being erased. It is a very difficult time for us, but I hope that we are also able to take cognizance in this political moment of the various ways in which women remain vulnerable to not only gender-based violence, but also to xenophobic attacks. And I say this in light of the looting and the xenophobia that is ensuing all around Gauteng and in other areas of our country. For us to think critically about the position that we also put foreign women in. How vulnerable they become to xenophobic attacks, how vulnerable they become to sexual violence, how vulnerable they become to being murdered. We are saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. We are enraged. We are raging. And we are in pain. These are growing pains and these are tough times. I also request a moment of silence for Uyinene. I cannot say rest easy. I don't believe in it. But from Black Girl Chats, I encourage all of us to be able to confront the ways in which we perpetuate and reproduce and even find comfort in patriarchal domination. Those that are in positions of power need to relinquish that power in order to ensure that the constitutional right that has been promised to us to live freely and fairly and equally as citizens of this country be restored to all Black women, children, and even vulnerable men.